Welcome back. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on NewsX. A dramatic incident has unfolded at the Denver International Airport earlier today when an American Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8 carrying 173 passengers and 6 crew members was forced to abort takeoff due to a landing gear issue that sparked a fire and sent smoke billowing from the aircraft. According to the Federal Aviation Administration, the aircraft reported a possible landing gear failure during departure and was forced to abort takeoff. The plane operating as Flight 3032 to Miami was evacuated directly on the runway using inflatable emergency slides. Thankfully, all passengers and crew members were safely evacuated. The incident, though, has raised further concerns about Boeing's safety standards. This incident comes on the heels of other Boeing-related issues, including the tragic Air India 171 crash in Ahmedabad, which claimed 260 lives. Well, with not just one, but many Boeing failures in the recent past, what's Boeing's plan to address these concerns, improve their safety standards, and reassure passengers? These are all the big questions we will be raising to the panel. Joining us today is Sanjay Lazar, aviation expert. We also have Squadron Leader Deepa Mehta, former Indian Air Force officer, joining us. Sujit Panisar, aviation expert, is also live with us. Group Captain UK Devnath, former Indian Air Force officer, also is joining the broadcast. Sanjay Lazar, let me begin with you first. What do you make of this incident that has come to light from the United States of America? What could be the possible cause that you attribute this entire incident to?
Well, Uday, I really can't speculate on what the reasons behind the aborted takeoff were. But a couple of things that are very important to point out. This was actually the second incident today with Boeing. There was a Southwest airline out of Los Angeles. I don't know if you read it. There was a near collision midair with a Hawker Siddeley, and that also was a Boeing 737 MAX. Now, and the pilot had to plunge, and then they landed at Las Vegas in an emergency landing. This happened almost at the same time with the American Airlines. Now, the first thing is when you look at the videos of the emergency evacuation, nobody talks of passengers getting off with hand baggage, passengers getting off with shoes. But when you see an Indian passenger getting off an Emirates emergency, you're run to. This is institutional racism. Nobody's talking about somebody pulling switches. You don't hear all these YouTubers now. What is with it? Of course, when you look at the video of this evacuation, lots of things that were wrong were committed. And I'm not going into the reasons why the takeoff was aborted, because I'm not technically competent with the knowledge at the moment from the investigators or the FAA or the NTSB. But I want to point out this. Within 15 minutes or 1 hour or 2 hours of the 171, you had 100 YouTubers around the world talking about Indian safety standards, Indian pilots, Indian aviation. You had a near miss over Los Angeles airport with a commercial airliner almost banging into another one. Asked to descend, he descended into the aircraft flight path, he took off. In this case, you have an American Airlines jetliner about to take off, and then nobody's talking about it. Do you hear all the YouTubers? Everybody's silent. It's been 12 hours, I've not heard a word. And that's what I want to point out. And this goes to our Indian media as well, and our host of YouTubers. And please realize that there are wheels within wheels. Boeing is a huge corporation. Obviously, they make the right noises when it concerns them, and they want to get out scot-free. When they want to cover up things, everything is silent. Nobody's talking about this. And this is something that I wanted to bring to the table when I came for this show. Okay.
Yes, Squadron Leader Deepa Mehta, your inference of this incident and also the repeated incidents, do you see a pattern here? Firstly, of course, what do you make of prima facie could have caused this incident from Denver, but do you see a pattern now with these repeated instances regarding this company? Is that a concern for you?
Yeah, good evening, Uday. Yeah, 100% it's a concern for me, Uday. Also, adding to what Sanjay sir has just said, this 737 MAX fleet had faced a global grounding also in 2019 and 20, and after the upgrades required systems and upgrade, the fleet was back in action. So, where it's like, if I talk about system, I'm a technical officer. So if I talk about any problem coming into one particular system, and then if it is coming on repeat, so that is when as a technical officer or as a like if I talk about Air Force itself as a organization, we would 100% look out for all the systems and find out the problems. Now, here are two things there that we need to think of. One thing is that every time there is not the problem or the concerns that are erupting are not the same, which 100% does not tell us that this particular system in this Boeing aircraft is malfunctioning, and that's why all the incidences are being caused by that particular problem, and hence we can't say that Boeing is at fault, or I don't know who is at fault, but then we can't say it specifically. Second is, unfortunately or coincidentally, all the incidences are happening with Boeing. So that is also something that is again, when I apply my logical mind, I feel like yes, I think Boeing needs to take action, and yes, these are not very new aircraft to that. So probably that angle also need to be kept in mind. Second thing is, when we talk about technically, see, it is all about the maintenance also. Now, very unfortunate in both the incidences, Uday. First, when it happened in Ahmedabad, within 32 seconds, the aircraft went off. Now, with this aircraft in Denver, it was about to take off, and before that, the landing gear broke off and the fire erupted. So, imagine, had it just taken off, or had it happened during the landing, or it would or would have outbursted in bigger fire also. This could have also led to a bigger fire because it was filled with the entire fuel. So considering all these angles, that if maintenance was done, then how we could not find the concern in the landing gear at that time, what has happened. So both the incidences, what brings or takes my attention to is that why the faults are happening at such quick instances. Though as a technical officer, I have been trained to believe, and I personally believe, that these are all machines. While cooking also, you don't know, your gas might just burst off. It happened with my mom 15-20 days back. You are churning your you're running your washing machine, it may just stop running. So it's a machine, ultimately it's a machine, it's not a human. Okay, so machines can go wrong at any point in time. We have to understand that. However, continuous faults coming in the same kind of airlines, that is what brings my attention, and probably will have some answers in future, because if it is happening, the entire global media, or probably everybody is seeking answers from Boeing. So probably Boeing shall come out with some information to this point. And second thing is that at this point in time, with that kind of credibility, I don't think it is nicer for us to say that who is at fault. We don't know what has happened on ground for the landing gear. I would only say that it was very fortunate, and as Sanjay sir said, this was my first this thing also observation, that how come people are coming with their bags and all that bloody. It is an emergency situation, and you are thinking of all these things. So yeah, Uday, over to you.
Okay.
This is what I wanted to point out.
Okay, let me in fact take that across to you, Sujit Panisar, as well. Sujit Panisar, are these repeated incidents now a concern? Do you believe Boeing does owe an explanation to reassure passengers? What do you make of what could have caused this incident on the runway at the airport there in the United States?
Well, it's a matter of grave concern that the serious snags are coming up on the Boeing 730, Boeing aircraft and all that. The company has to pull up their socks and find out what's the reason. So many aircraft being diverted because of some serious snag. What happened at Ahmedabad is very, very senior. I'm sure the Boeing company must be alert now to find out what is the reason. If these continue, the confidence of traveling public in Boeing aircraft will be destroyed. It is high time that the Federal Aviation Administration of USA should also intervene and find out the reasons for these multiple snags coming very often now on the Boeing type of aircraft only. It's a matter of grave concern. Now it is up to the company and the Federal Aviation Administration of USA and NTSB also to investigate these incidents and come out with a solution to the Boeing company to improve on the functioning of the system. There must be something wrong with the system which is causing all these incidents.
All right, let me also, in fact, quickly get in Group Captain UK Devnath. Then, Group Captain Devnath, as far as you're concerned, what steps should be taken now following this yet another incident that has come to light from Denver? What could have possibly led to this forced abortion of takeoff in the United States of America? Is it, a big relief, though, that thanks to these emergency slides that were deployed, no passenger or crew were injured? But look at these visuals. I mean, this could have been something which could have gone horribly wrong.
Yes, Sudhir, definitely. Aviation industry takes every small mishap, every small incident very seriously. And it has to be understood, everyone understands that few such 10 or 20 incidents finally lead to one big accident. In this instance also, in case the fire or the smoke which we see, if in case it had spread throughout the aircraft, then it would have definitely led to a very, very serious situation. Uday, yes, we keep hearing name of Boeing aircraft involved in such incidents, oblique accidents throughout the world. Around 11,000 Boeing aircraft are flying in world at any time. This particular model, Boeing 737, various deviations of Boeing 737, over 9,000 Boeing 737 have been manufactured over last 4 decades. So it's a huge number. Definitely every Boeing aircraft is doing more than one sortie per day. So if we take into consideration that one Boeing aircraft is doing say 3 or 4 sorties per day, we are talking about 20,000, 30,000 takeoff and landing every day as far as Boeing is concerned. What happens that in aviation industry, all checks and balances are there to ensure that such incidences do not take place. In this instance, now maybe very rare occasion it happens that aircraft is taxiing out in a hot weather climate and the brake pads they get heated up. But brake pads are designed to withstand high temperature. In Boeing 737, there is no fire extinguisher in wheel bay, in brake, where brakes are operating. But there is a fire warning circuit in most of the models of Boeing 737 which warn the cockpit. Normally, a pilot, while sitting or co-pilot from the cockpit, he cannot look at the wheel bay and detect any fire or smoke. Some other third party has to warn the pilot, say air traffic controller or any other aircraft which is in the vicinity, taxiing out, taxiing in, has to inform the pilot that his wheel bay is smoking or there is a fire there. There is another possibility that actually the aircraft had, after takeoff will commence, there was some other technical issue because of which the pilot had to abort the takeoff. And when he aborted the takeoff, it happens very often that the brake pads, due to excessive braking is required during abort takeoff. So the brakes get heated up, smoke comes out. Was there a hydraulic failure, drops of hydraulic failure or any other lubricant which were there, which caught fire? That will be ascertained subsequently. In most of the aircraft model, there is a fan also, cooling fan also installed so that brakes can be cooled. So exact details will come out after the investigation is over. I am not saying that such incidences are confined to Boeing only. Airbus also had similar problems, but their total number of Airbus flying around the world are very, very, say almost 1/2 or 1/3 of total number of Boeings flying around the world. Firstly, we must commend the pilot. Secondly, pilot took correct action when he came to know that there is a fire or smoke. He deployed the chute. The passengers were very cooperative. They quickly came out. And we can see that the fire extinguishing servicing services also reached there within 2 minutes and used foam and water to extinguish the, to suppress the smoke or the fire.
Yes. Also now, Sanjay Lazar, is it essential that Boeing now comes clean on what they are doing to address these safety concerns. Do you believe they do owe a detailed statement, a detailed internal investigation now to their clients, to passengers, not just, of course, now in the US, but across the world where these incidents have come to light? Is that just the very least that they do owe?
Yes, definitely, Uday. As you would remember, there's been a congressional investigation. There's been a Senate hearing. The FAA has, also raised issues with Boeing in the last year or two. There have been whistleblowers who've spoken before the congressional hearings on shortcuts taken by Boeing. Boeing has taken a beating in the market, though it's one of the two large monopoly air manufacturers along with Airbus. But it's taken a huge beating. It's gotten, institutionally, it has suffered in reputation. Its safety record is questionable. Most of the recent incidents, stroke accidents that we see around the world in the last year or two have been largely Boeing related. They need to do a lot of work on coming clean to its customers, which are the airlines, its customers who are passengers, traveling passengers the world over, and most importantly, try and rebuild confidence. They need to find out why these frequent occurrences are taking place. In the current incident, we know it was an aborted takeoff because sparks were seen in the landing gear, and it then collapsed. Of course, the evacuation was successful without any fatality or anything like that. Be that as it may, that there were many mistakes in that evacuation. But I think Boeing needs to do a lot of homework, especially here in India. After the one incident that we've seen recently, there's a lot of question mark, and we wonder how the NTSB will treat this investigation. I'd like to see how it unfurls, and details coming out by the by.
Okay, let me also, in fact, take that to Sujit Panisar. I think he has a quick intervention to make, Sujit Panisar, on the steps that perhaps are needed going forward.
Well, the main issue today is the maintenance problem.
Yes.
Whenever you do lack maintenance and all that, you have to face all these things. Now, all the airlines, they also must raise their socks to find out the maintenance is properly done before the aircraft are released for a particular flight. Because there's a short time, I don't know, hopping time, how many they have. If there's any snag in the aircraft, do they have enough time to rectify the snag or not? If they're pushing the aircraft with the minor snags and all that, they come into the major snag. It's on maintenance problem. The airlines also have to be more concerned about taking serious action on the maintenance part of it. It's all right. Boeing has manufactured an aircraft and they are given their manuals for repair and all that. If you relax on those conditions, these things are bound to happen. The only thing is the maintenance has to be very fine and it has to be very alert. Every day they release the aircraft, they have to check it properly before they release the aircraft for the safety of passenger and crew.
Okay. Let me, in fact, quickly also now take that back across to Group Captain Devnath on maintenance. How do we ensure maintenance of fleets? Isn't that the job of the airline and not of the parent company? Of course, the parent company owes certain other explanations, but what about the airlines who perhaps would then owe an explanation on maintenance or lack of it?
Uday, as far as maintenance is concerned, it is a vast field, and there are two agencies at least who are responsible for keeping a supervisory eye on the airline. Every airline in the world has its own maintenance or technical team to maintain the aircraft. But regulatory authorities like in India, DGC is there, they will carry out routine inspections to see that all the maintenance practices leaflet issued by OEM, say Boeing, are adhered to by the airline. Similarly, the OEM, because it is they are the major stakeholders in this entire game. So whether it is Airbus or it is Boeing, their teams also keep updating the maintenance checklist from time to time as per various incidents or accidents which are reported all over the world. So these checklists are very strictly adhered to by the maintenance team. Now, maintenance is broken down in various steps. Small routine maintenance are done, say refueling of the aircraft, tire check pressure is checked. We are talking about brake. There are very, very basic ways of finding out whether the brake system is serviceable. In the most basic form, you find there is a screw which gives the indication about gap between the brake pad. You see, there is a rotating part of the brake pad and there is a stationary part of the brake pad. So, in case the brake pad wear and tear is more than a limit, the maintenance crew will come to know by inspecting that screw. So I must tell that they are all highly qualified technical personnel and a very dedicated team. There is no doubt about their professionalism, their involvement, and their sincerity in maintaining aircraft. But having said that, Uday, as it happens with any human intervention system, say if there are 10,000 actions to be done, small actions to be done, once it may happen that there is a lapse or a shortcut is taken unintentionally. No airline maintenance crew will take a shortcut intentionally, but sometimes it may happen unintentionally. Like use of a particular tool, tester, calibration equipment, a workshop, a lab is always optimized. But it may happen that a maintenance crew has, instead of using tool A, has due to oversight or due to other reason has used tool B. So such maintenance lapses are clarified and such human error maintenance or human error engineering faults are very, very rare. Maybe one in thousands. Yes, Uday?
Okay. Swarnita Kala, I leave the last word to you on the steps needed going forward.
Yeah. So, Uday, as sir has very clearly stated, that Boeing needs to give an answer.
Yes.
They owe an answer to all of us, and also it 100% gives a message to all the airlines also to scrutinize their maintenance practices. That whatever Devnath sir has said, in any which case, this is a system wherein which is flying, 1,000 feet above the ground, and the fatality cases are higher. If something goes wrong, everybody is going to go. So it's very fatal. The results could be very fatal. So in that case, we should not, you know, have any circumstance wherein people are trying to use, if tool A is to be used, they cannot use tool B. That is the kind of mentality we have to give it to them. And yes, indeed, when we go a little deeper into the technical practices, Uday, see, there are a lot of things. When we have so many equipment inside, and a bigger equipment, aircraft is an equipment itself. So what you understand is that every part of it also has its own shelf life. Okay, so that is what actually maintenance practices includes, that which part has lived its life and which part we need to now change, or also checking the overall functionality of that particular equipment. So any lapses here and there shall not cause such regular and repeated incidences. That's what my point is. If it is happening, it 100% is a lapse at the maintenance part.
All right. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us. We're out of time. Let's slip into a short break. Much more continuing on NewsX on the other side.